Okay, greetings. I just got in the mail today this very expensive um book published by an academic press, Baylor University Press. Um, there's some, and it's a super fascinating book. And I also got this book back here, the Obs- Historical Jesus, and he actually Glover, Daniel Glover. But he doesn't. He cites an article by Glover that Glover himself does not cite. So it's it's kind of ironic. But anyway, um, um, basically the main claim of Glover is, well, I don't want to simplify it because it's a complicated book, but he's focusing on the Gospel of Luke as being a very like sophisticated Greek philosophy and Iamblichus's biography of Pythagoras. I know I'm saying that guy's name wrong, but so he's got a lot about Pythagorean philosophy in this book, and then he talks about the having this concept of noumena as material substance, and that that really explains a lot about the like you know believe in because Jesus tested those who didn't believe in him, saying like he had a physical body, and he's got a great quote in here that says, let's see, I'll read it. um, he's quoting David Lip, and he says that, and then he says, Ovid has in mind the Stoic conception, uh, new a material substance with its own physical properties, distinct from created mortality. Um, hence, and then he says another sentence later, hence ancient physics and anthropology for the disappearance or destruction of the body as well as a quote bodily assumption. And then he compares that to Luke then it first appeared. So he's basically saying that Luke really is a pretty much like a Pythagorean concept of the logos. Super fascinating because I had this view, you know, that I developed on my own, and I tested it out. Of course, I developed my own definition of the logos from music theory, and so like when we study the qigong masters, Taoist master supposedly has the ability to walk through a wall, as witnessed by David Verdes. If we study like Professor Michael Grosso's book, The Man Who Could Cupertino, Who Could Levitate, uh, spiritual abilities. And so then someone like Richard said schizotypal schizotypal traits. In other words, it's like not, and but he cites, went into Google Scholar and I searched Richard Carrier, and I mean he does get cited in the academic literature pretty much after he came out with a popular version of his book that was his PhD thesis. A book that I got, which is I think it's called Jesus from Outer Space. Mm, he doesn't get cited much after that. I mean, I'm sure he realizes that because he's obviously not accepted in the Jesus as an academic subject. Anyway, so this guy Daniel Glover, he's having a new book getting published by Fortress Press, which is associated with Augsburg College, which is right next to universities. That's actually where I discovered Peter Kingsley, who is another Pythagorean scholar. Um, who did his PhD on Peter Kingsley right when I got into the test as the definition. Um, actually, what is it? Yeah, Robin Walsh gets cited a lot, but um, also, which is nice to see Professor Robin Walsh, um, Robin Faith Walsh, and she discusses the logos also, like the different definitions of the logos. So the concept of noumena is usually translated as spirit or breath, but this as that quote I just read says that there's this ancient science concept of noumena as material substance. Now, what's fascinating about that is in the context of non-commutativity, that's actually corroborated, where you can actually create physical matter from virtual photons through, and then my own claim is that this is achievable in quantum biology as through meditation, and then that explains the spiritual abilities that you find, um, the Taoist alchemy and the Vedic yoga training and Indian yoga, like the Dravidian alchemy, Tamil tradition, and the Kriya yoga and all that. And so then I just ordered Robert Price's latest book from 2021, where he um, Jesus in the context of non-Western theology, and that's a book, or Achara S's book, Sons of God, where she compares Jesus with Krishna and Buddha, and so he's doing that too. He's comparing Jesus with Buddha, and he actually promoted her work. He's like the only academic that I know. There's probably some others, but that promoted her work and her work. He's like the only academic that I know. There's probably some others, but that promoted her work and well, there's probably some others, but that promoted her work and academic that I know. There's probably some others, but that promoted her work and of course she had a early passing. Apparently it was on like Christmas Eve or something weird like that. But her a bit because I was investigating her complaint. Uh, oh, I'm losing the connection. So I'm gonna sign off. I think I made my point. I quoted the section of the book I wanted to quote. It's really awesome corroboration